Hey everybody, so today I was going to do a video and I was going to put on my makeup and I decided, hey, why not just show you guys my current affordable go-to makeup look. Like, this is what I'm doing most days. Of course I change it up every so often, but this is what I'm doing currently. These are my favorite products to use, and yeah, so that's what we're going to do. A few things. My husband is going to be doing or conducting interviews in the other room, so if you hear anything, he's doing interviews. My puppy is about, well, she's 8 years old, but so she's not a puppy, she's a dog, but she is about 3 feet away and she is currently snoring. So if you hear anything weird, she snores pretty loud, so that's that. And on top of that, my allergies are really bad right now, so if my voice sounds really weird or I sound really nasally, that's what's going on. Yeah, so let's just get into it. Let's do some makeup. So today, I already moisturized my face whenever I got out of the shower. I'm just using, today I used the Ordinary 100% plant-derived squalane right here. And for my lips, I just used the O'Keeffe Lip Repair Lip Balm. So those are the two products I already have on my face, and that's it. So I'm gonna go into primer. For primer, I'm using the Wet n Wild Glass Correct Primer. And I currently have been loving this because it is, it kind of color corrects. I mean, it is green, so it takes away a little bit of redness, but not really. Mostly why I like it is because it provides slip. It has a very nice sheen to it. It gives me kind of a glossy appearance, you know, like it stays glass correct. And honestly, I mean, it just a really good primer for how affordable it is. So that's what I'm gonna be using today. Taking about that much. And I'm just going to use my fingers and put it all over my face. Okay, so now I'm going to use the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. I love this primer for my pores and along my nose and a little bit in my fine lines there. I've actually been between this and another product. It's Maryland's Morning Mousse Whipped Under Eye Cream. It's actually for the under eyes, but you can of course use it anywhere. I think I'm actually going to use this today instead of the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. I don't know, I'm torn. Okay, so I'm going to use the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer just right here on the sides of my nose, and I guess on my nose as well, and then everything else I'm going to use that Hard Candy Maryland's, I forgot to mention, it is Hard Candy Maryland's Morning Mousse Whipped Under Eye Cream. So I'm taking the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer, just going to focus it literally just along my nose. And then a little bit on top of my nose as well, just to kind of fill in those pores. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with that Hard Candy Morning Mousse. Just going to take a little bit, like the tiniest amount. You really don't need much. I'm just working that into my fingers, and then I am just like circling it and basically just like really rubbing it into my lines there. Also going to go around my smile lines with this stuff. You know what, while we're at it, I might as well just use it under my eyes like it's intended. So I'm gonna do that as well. I'm just gonna take a little bit more and just pat a little bit. You don't want to use a lot, otherwise it could mess with your concealer later. I should probably mention that it has, it's infused with green caviar extract, grapeseed oil, and caffeine. It says it's perfect to wake up and go or use overnight to revitalize the look of tired eyes. So honestly, it's really good for fine lines. That's why I really like it on my forehead, smile lines, and now under my eyes. And then I use the Matte Putty Poreless Primer on the sides of my nose and on my nose. Now that we're done priming, for foundation, I've currently been loving to mix these two products. They are the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation in the shade Neutral Porcelain 004. And I've been mixing it with my Butter Believe It foundation and concealer. This shade is a shade light to medium. I'm gonna do about a pump of each, because I use quite a bit for coverage. I like to layer up. So I'm just going to mix them on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Putty primer applicator. And then I'm just going to blend it out a little bit further with my Wet n Wild makeup sponge or beauty sponge. So I'm just going to do a little bit of my face at a time. I was messing with the blemish right here. When I do that, I tend to get pretty like peely and flaky after that, and I never learned my lesson. So then I'm just going to put some on my forehead, just a little bit. I don't want to use too much on my forehead. So I'm just going to go in with that much. You want to use less on your forehead whenever you have pretty prominent wrinkles up there. That way it doesn't enhance them. So I just did 2 layers of foundation on my face, and now I am going to just blend it out with my Wet n Wild sponge. So I love this combination because the Catrice True Skin is like a thinner formula with medium coverage, and then the Physicians formula is a thicker formula with like medium to full coverage, and I love more coverage on my face because I have scars and things that I like to cover up. I personally don't really like a light coverage pretty much ever. So I combine these two, and they just give a very like soft matte like satin type look. So not too radiant or anything. I think it's just right. So this is what I've been currently going to, and I love it. Now I'm going to conceal my under eyes with the Believe Beauty You're Covered Liquid Concealer. I love this stuff, and it's only like $5. I'm using the shade Fair, and I'm just going to use a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm going to blend it out with my fingers and then go back over with the sponge. And now I'm going to blend it out. I personally love this concealer because it has pretty decent coverage. It's like a medium coverage concealer. You can build it up, but it's very radiant. It blends beautifully. It's not too matte, not too, too hydrating looking. It stays put all day, and it really works with pretty much any foundation I've ever put it with so far. So it's just really versatile. And I don't need intense coverage under my eyes. I don't feel like I do. So honestly, this is just perfect for me, and it's very, very, very inexpensive as well for the quality that you get from it. Whenever I say that these things are affordable, I mean they're like typically around $15 or $16 or under, or no more than $20. Like everything is either from the drugstore, like the more inexpensive side of Ulta, or just online. They're just very inexpensive products that work really well. For under eyes, I am going to set them with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in a powder, the viral powder right now. And this is the shade Pearl. It's the lightest shade, I believe, and I just like to brighten up my under eyes with it. It's got a slightly pinker undertone. And to set my under eyes with this powder, I use the Profusion Small Pointed Eyeshadow brush. And I really just like to focus it where the lines are and like nowhere else. So just a little bit. I don't like to over powder under my eyes, because it just enhances those lines, I feel, for me. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like really brightening up my under eye. And it doesn't look ghostly, it just looks brighter. So I really like that. And I'm just doing that right here. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna do a little bit on the outer part as well here. Just right there. Now to set my entire face, I typically use 2 different powders. I go in first with my Hard Candy Chilling Wonder Powder. It's fairly new. Oh, I have dog hair on it. It's fairly new, very inexpensive. I think it's like $6, if maybe $7. And it just feels good. It's super hydrating. It doesn't look like powder whenever you put it on. I personally think this is the best product that I've found so far in 2021. This is my favorite product. So I'm just gonna actually put some on my palm because I don't like to dip my brush into the powder. I'm just weird like that. I don't know why I did, but I put it into my palm and then I do it from there. So I'm gonna dump some in my palm. I'm gonna go in with this Glam Squad fluffy brush. I don't think they even make it anymore, but it was these like CVS brand. And I'm just going to dip it into my powder that's on my hand there. Just lightly, and then tap off some of that. And then just set everywhere on my face. So after I set it with that hard candy powder, I like to actually go in with a powder that has a little more radiance and sheen to it because I like that glowy look. So I'm actually using the J-Cat Golden Soleil Baked Bronzer right here. It's cracked. Usually pretty much anything that I have that's like a mineral powder or something, or like a baked product, always cracks for me. I always end up hitting it on something or dropping it. Literally never fails. And this is the shade Coconut Island. So I'm just going to take that on the same brush that I was using for the chilling powder. I'm just going to bloop, 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 and it just creates a very nice sheen while still setting my foundation even further. It has enough sheen and glow without like enhancing texture, I feel. Like the texture that shows up is the texture that was already there and showing before I even put the foundation or the powder on it. All right, so now I'm gonna bronze my face. I'm gonna use another J-Cat Golden Soleil Baked Bronzer. This one actually is a bronzer. This one is in the shade Cypress Clay, and it's a beautiful like neutral bronzer. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. It gives a more natural bronze appearance than like something super golden or very, very cool tone. So I love this one. And then it also has that sheen like the bronzer that I was using before to give that glow back to my face. To apply the bronzer, I'm just using another Glam Squad. I love these brushes so much. Unfortunately, they're discontinued, but I'm using another Glam Squad angled brush right here. They were super inexpensive and they're really good quality, so it makes me really sad that they're no longer available. So I'm just going to take that bronzer and just warm up a little bit the sides of my face, around the perimeter of my face. Not a lot. I don't like to look super bronzed. But it warms up my skin. For blush, I'm using J-Cat Love Struck blusher and bronzer right here. This one is in the shade Pudding Pop. And these are really pigmented blushes. Like they blend out really nice, but they're extremely pigmented. So you want to like dip like real gently, like not even like, see right there? That is insane. I literally dipped it in like super lightly and it comes out like that. So I just put some on the back of my hand and then I go in really gently, like with a light hand, of course. And I like to pounce and blend, like that's my thing. So I pounce, I blend, I pounce, I blend. And I do this little number. I have to like literally blend off the excess. It's so much. And then pounce and blend. I'm gonna use a little bit up here, not a lot. Just a little bit across the way. Okay, I'm just gonna go back in with my little primer brush that I was using. I'm going back in with my primer brush that I was using earlier. I'm just blending that out a little bit. It has some foundation on it, but not a lot. For highlight, I really like the Morphe highlighter in Spark. This is my favorite powder highlighter. Actually, okay, it's one of my favorite powder highlighters. I have like two other ones that I love, but I love this one. Like, I'm just going to apply that with my Bretman Rock Wet n Wild highlighting brush. And lightly, ever so lightly. I also like to take a little bit of it and put it in the inner corner, just a little. And now I'm going to take my sponge and just go over everything. All right, so now I'm gonna do my brows, and I do them pretty quickly, but I use quite a few products. So what I do is I do the soap brow, the fluffy brows. So first I go in with the L'Oreal Unbelieva brow. I put it on the back of my hand. I just like, boop. Now this stuff is pretty staining, so if you don't like to scrub or like really have to work the product off of your skin, if you don't have a really good makeup remover, I suggest putting it on like a glass or like ceramic plate or something like that, putting on something else other than your skin. And then I take a little spoolie like this and I just dip it in here and I swirl it. And then I just use this just to basically put some color back into my hair, into my brow hairs. So I don't do anything intense with it. I'm just like brushing it through my hairs to give a little bit more color back to them. Now I'm going to just brush them up a little bit with the same brush that I was using for the gel. All right, so now I'm going with my Catrice eyebrow stylist. Super affordable. I love the shade for my eyebrows. It matches perfectly. And this is in the shade Perfect Brown. It is perfect for me. So I just take it and fill in all of the places that I need extra help. So now I go in with my soap, and this is just clear like glycerin soap. Pretty much if you can find any like transparent soap, like glycerin based soap, then you're good. You don't want it to have a bunch of like other things in it. Like you don't want it to have a lot of ingredients because then it might irritate your brows. So just letting you know. That's why I use one that doesn't have many ingredients in it. And then I take a different spoolie and I work it into the soap. And then I just work it into my brow hairs. Just work it up. I don't use as much brow soap as some other people probably do. I don't feel like it's necessary. In fact, I think that it actually would make it fall faster throughout the day. So I don't put too much brow soap, or soap, excuse me, in my brows. And as you can see, like they are really, really fluffy now. So you can use just the soap, but I actually like to use a little bit of the Got To Be, I'm sure you've heard of it, but the styling like spiking glue. I use a little bit of that to keep it lasting even longer throughout the day, just to like ensure that it'll stay up. So I use a little bit though, like a little. I take my finger, I put a little bit on the back of my hand, like so. And I take another spoolie. I think I go through 3 spoolies whenever I do this, 3 different spoolies for each product. So, or 1 spoolie for each product. And I just rub it in like I was doing before with the gel. And I just work it through the brows. I don't like to leave it like this. I kind of like to like tame the ends a little bit. Like basically I like it like half and half. I like it to be like wispy, like in the, you know, in the inner parts, and then like on the outer parts I like just kind of make it like a little bit more defined. That's what I'm doing right now. Of course that changes all the time. For my eyes, I just go with my e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. I use this all the time. It's in the shade Rose, and I just prime my lids. I just use my finger, dip it into the product, and just use a little bit. A little goes a long way with this product. So I like to set that eyeshadow primer with just a little bit of powder. I'm just going with my Infallible, again, that I use underneath my eyes, and I'm just going to set the eyelid. So I'm just going to keep it really simple today. I'm just going to use a LA Girl Keep It Playful eye palette and Downplay. I love this palette. Like the quality is just so good. They're creamy, they're super blendable. The shades aren't too warm or too cool. It's just my favorite like drugstore eyeshadow palette right now. It's just so beautiful and so inexpensive. It's awesome. So these are the shades, and I'm actually just going to be using a few shades here. So I'm starting out with like a crease shade just to kind of blend everything together. I'm just going to put this in my crease, and it is the second one on the top there. Taking a fluffier brush by Morphe, it is the, the Japonesque, excuse me, eyeshadow brush, and it just says 724. That is the brush. And I'm just working that above my crease. Now I'm going to take my Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH33 brush right here. I'm just going to use a little bit of that matte chocolatey shade right there on the second row, the third one. And I'm just going to work that on my lid up to the crease. Now I'm going to take my finger, just my index finger, I'm going to go into that middle shade right there. It is a beautiful like frosty taupe shade, and I'm just going to apply that all over my lid. I'm just going to reblend that frosty shade with the matte shade in my crease. I'm going to take that matte chocolate shade now. I'm just going to work that on my lower lash line. Just trying to keep it as close to the lower lash line as possible. Now I'm going to take that really fluffy brush that I used to set my primer, my eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to, it's the Morphe M504. I'm just going to take that lightest shade right there in the top left corner, and I'm going to just work that above the crease shade to blend the crease shade with my skin tone right above it. Now I'm going to be using that palette again soon, but first I'm going to line my eyelids with the Believe Beauty Long Lasting Eyeliner in Caviar. It's just a jet black gel liner. I'm just going to line my eyes. I'm going to keep it as close to the lash line as possible. So I'm going to do one eye at a time. I'm just going to smoke out that black eyeliner with the black shade in that same palette. It is the bottom right corner right there. So I'm just going to take it along that lash line and just smoke out and blend that eyeliner. This helps not only smoke out the eyeliner but also set the eyeliner. So I just smoked out the other side. Now I'm just going to tightline my waterline upper and lower lash line with the same black eyeliner that I was using. And I usually just take that eyeliner and only do about the outer 2/3 of my lower lash line. I usually don't like to bring it completely into my the tear ducts. Now I'm just going to curl my eyelashes and put mascara on. For mascara, I'm going to be using two of my current favorite mascaras. I'm using the Ulta New Heights Lifting Mascara and the L'Oreal Air Volume Mega Mascara. So I'm just layering these. I'm using the Ulta one first, and I'm going to layer the L'Oreal one on top of it. So I love this combination because the Ulta one really separates and lifts my lashes, and it like coats every single lash, and then the L'Oreal Air Volume really just also separates everything else. It doesn't clump up anything, but it really does provide more volume. And together, I just love how it's still very separate, but it looks like very natural volume. It's not very clumpy or anything. So far, it's been the best combination I've seen thus far. So we're almost done. If you have endured this video up until this point, thank you so much. You are a trooper. I really appreciate it. And now we just have lips, and then we're gonna set our face with setting spray. So for lips, I've been really loving two different products. I have been loving the Flower Powder Play Lip Color in the shade Frisky. I still have the little CVS sticker on it. And then I also have been loving the Hard Candy Plumping Serum Lip Balm in the shade Colossal Caramel, or Caramel if you say caramel. I say caramel. I love these two. They're very different shades, and of course one is a balm, one is a powder. Today I think I'm going to go with the balm, but I love them like equally. The balm does have a little bit of a tingling sensation, so if you don't like that, don't purchase this. It's not super intense. It's not like Too Faced lip injection intense, but it does provide a little bit of tingling for that plumping effect. I'm just going to put it on my lips. So now I'm going to prime my face with the Catrice Cosmetics Illuminating Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. This stuff is awesome. You can see like the like sheeny particles just swirling in there. It's so beautiful. And it's extremely affordable. I also love the mist. Like, I don't know if you can see that. It's not an intense mist, and it does really enhance the glow even further. This is my current go-to look with my current go-to favorite products. They're very affordable or inexpensive. Like I said, they're around $15 to $16, at most $20, but typically they do not get that close. Most of them are actually under $10. But yeah, it's a medium to full coverage look, and it also has that glow. I used to want like the most matte look. Of course, you know, like that was the thing that was in back in like, I think it was like 2009 or 2010, like a matte look was it. But now, especially now that I'm older, like I just want a very radiant and soft look. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great day. I enjoyed doing this video, and now I'm gonna do another video, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.